Yo, what is up, YouTube? Back with another video, and man, I know y'all tired of hearing me say this, but like I'm back. I ain't gonna lie, I just took my priority off of this. There were some other things that I needed to get straight, but I mean that's no excuse. I've actually been back home since the last video. I've also worked 12s like all this last week, and I literally told my girlfriend, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna lock in. I'm gonna post a video every week for the rest of this year. You know what I'm saying? And I have like 6 or 7 video ideas popped out or picked out, but it's just I haven't found the time to really sit down and record them. And I want to make sure I have enough information and I'm just not just blabbling just to give y'all content. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure y'all have the best information possible. Not to say that I've even been thinking about this, but I'm just letting y'all know like how my brain works and how the thought process is. I want to apologize to y'all though, because I know some of y'all look forward to these videos and some of y'all like getting the information and the content, and some of y'all are actually about to leave very soon, and I feel like y'all kind of need this, like as far as before y'all join, so that way y'all can be as prepared as possible. But this video is for the people that's really just first starting their process. They know they want to be in the military or the Air Force specifically, and they don't really know like where they're going. So this video is how to pick your job in the Air Force. Now, when I first decided I wanted to join the Air Force, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like I really just I was just like, I just want to get out. I want to get out of the home. I want to go start my career, you know what I'm saying, and just get started with life. And I feel like that's where a lot of people are at right now. But just know that you should take your time before you pick your job, because that's going to be the next 4 or 6 years of your life. And you don't want to pick something that you end up not liking just because you want to leave home. You know what I'm saying? Leaving home is always a good thing so you can get new experiences and be away from people that you may not like, but it's also going to be the next 4 years of your life. So you want to make sure you're enjoying it and you're not just doing it just to get away, you know? And a lot of people that do that end up doing security forces, which we'll get into that later, you know what I'm saying? But this is the best way to pick your job in 2024. About to be 2025, sheesh. But yeah. All right, I feel like the first way to really decide what you should be doing in the Air Force is to identify why you're joining. Why are you joining? That's important, because if you don't know why you're joining, then you're not even gonna know what job you wanna do. You know what I'm saying? So if you think about why you're joining, like for me, why I joined was to build stability, to build a future, just to have some reliability for me and my family, you know what I'm saying? So I don't never have to worry about anything. So that's why I joined, and that's why I picked my job, because I wanted to do something that's gonna make me a lot of money when I get out. But now that I'm thinking about it, I really don't even want to do this job when I get out. So it's just like, you should really take your time to figure out what is it 4 years after you get out the military, you know, like everybody's focused on what they want to do like while they're in, but they also need to focus on why they want to do what they want to do while they're out. Because a lot of reasons why people stay in for more than 4 years is because they get up to that 4-year mark and they're like, I actually don't know what I want to do with my life. And then they end up being confused, and then they stay in and keep doing something that they really don't enjoy just because they're not ready to get out. You know, so you want to make sure you think about why you want to join the Air Force. Like, is it for education? Are you going to get your degree so that way you can get a job with that degree when you get out? Like, are you doing it just to get away from home? So you just want to blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Just things like that. Like, you just really want to think about why you're joining, because if you know why you're joining, you're going to know what job and what type of job you want to do, you know? So yeah, that's what I have for that point. All right, the next thing that you kind of want to think about when picking your job is, what are you comfortable with? Like, what are you comfortable with? Where are you comfortable with going? Things of that nature. Because I'm gonna be honest, in maintenance, especially aircraft maintenance, it's a heavily male-dominated field. And some women might not feel comfortable being in a space with a bunch of men, because it's a lot of weirdos out here. Like, let's be real. It's a lot of weird women too, but it's mainly the dudes. So like, if you're not comfortable with that, you might want to think about another job. Also, where are you comfortable with being at? Because some jobs don't offer all the locations. You're not going to be able to travel as much with every single job. So that's another thing to look into. And it's a website. I'll find that after I transition into the next one, because I really don't know off the top of my head. I think it's called Forever Wingman. Yeah, that's what it is. It's called Forever Wingman. So look up the AFSC, which is basically the job code, and then you'll find that on there. But back to my point, like my job, I can only go 2 places, South Dakota or Texas. And it's like, I thought I was going to be able to travel more. My recruiter told me that I was going to be able to travel more, but obviously, you know, they be lying. So make sure you do your own research on top of what your recruiter tells you. But most jobs like security forces, which is the worst job in the Air Force, because when you first get there, you're just going to be standing at the gate scanning people in. Now, obviously, they do more than that. I'm not saying that that's what security forces only is, but when you're new, that's all you're basically going to be doing until you get into deployments and stuff like that, where you actually like do something. And Yeah, they can go all around the world though. So it's just, what are you comfortable with? Are you comfortable with only being in Arkansas? Are you comfortable with only being in Cali? Like, it just depends on your lifestyle and how you want to be. And that's pretty much it for that little section. Just think about what you're comfortable with, who you're comfortable with being around, what you're comfortable with doing for the next 4 years. Like, if you don't want to sit at a desk, you might not want to pick administration. If you don't want to be outside all day, you might not want to pick maintenance or something like that. If you don't want to hold binoculars and look outside of a tower, which I don't know if that's what air traffic control does, but I know they send that tower all day. They have the highest suicide rate in the Air Force, which is kind of crazy. But if you don't want to do that, then that's something that you might want to think about. So just do some thorough research on what jobs go where, what they do, how their day-to-day life is. It's a bunch of YouTubers out here that post their day in the lives of their fields. You know what I'm saying? And they're more comfortable with me, and they can actually record what they do. Like, I'm on aircraft maintenance. My job is secret, so I can't even record on the flight line and show y'all like what I really do. But some jobs, like people that sit in offices or like they're dental assistants and stuff like that, like they can record. They can set their camera up and you can see what they do day to day. So that's definitely something to look into. But yeah, next point. All right, the next thing I can kind of expand on is the Air Force needs. Now, every year, so now they just dropped a new one, I think, in October. But every October, they drop a new list of the Air Force needs. And based on those needs, it's basically just like what it says. So it's what they need the most, what jobs they want people to take the most. So keep in mind that whenever you're making your list 1 through 10, as far as what jobs you want, if one of your things is on that Air Force most wanted list, you're more likely to get picked for that, especially if it's higher, because that's what they need. And a lot of people make the assumption, and it's not honestly all the way false, but the jobs that are on the Air Force wanted needs is for a reason. Some people say that it's because it's a high demanding field and you need a lot of people. Some people say the job is so bad that nobody wants to take it, so they just keep adding bonuses and just things like that, so that way people can join that job, because that's what they need. And the one that you'll probably see the most, that I talked about earlier in the video, is security forces. It's basically the police officers of the Air Force. Now, when you get out, I don't know if that will necessarily help you in becoming an actual police officer, but I met a lot of people that pick that job just because they want to be a police officer when they get out. So if you're interested in that, security forces is definitely the way for you. But yeah, so when you're making your list 1 through 10, obviously 1 is where you would most likely want to go, and 10 is where you're least likely to go. And keep in mind, this whole thing revolves around your ASVAB score. So if your ASVAB score is low, that's okay. You can retake it over a certain amount of time, I think. And then also you just study up and to get a better score. But my point is with that is, if your ASVAB score is not as high as the job you want recommends, that you can't do it, obviously. So you want to make sure that after you take your ASVAB, you look at all the jobs that you can get based on your score. And don't think that you have to be out here getting 99s, 95s. Now, I ain't gonna lie, almost everybody I went to BMT with had a higher score than me. Like, I say 95% of people had a higher score than me. I got like a 64. And a lot of people got like 90s, 80s, this, and that. You know what I'm saying? But I still qualified for 130 out of 150 jobs. So you only need like a ASVAB score of 72 to qualify for every job. So don't think that you need the highest score possible. Don't stress about the ASVAB. Don't think you need the highest score possible to get the job that you want. You can look into the job that you want on Forever Wingman and see what specific score you need, so that way you don't even have to stress about it whenever that time comes. Because if you just focus on certain aspects, like for example, I did HVAC before I joined the Air Force, but my ASVAB score didn't even reflect that, and I couldn't even work HVAC in the Air Force if I wanted to, which is kind of crazy to me. But my mechanical score wasn't high enough for it. I think I was like 1 point off. But if your mechanical score is not high, your ASVAB is at 80 something, then you're still not going to be able to do like HVAC. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's how it works though, because I don't think you'll be able to get an 80 something if your mechanical is lower. But y'all know what I mean. Basically, you can focus on certain parts of the ASVAB, so that way you can just get the job you want and not stress about the other things. But you should always strive for greatness. You should always strive for more than you desire. Always strive for that 100. Even if you truly don't believe down in your heart that you're gonna get an 100, just strive for it. Just train like you already got it, like you got it in the bag. You know what I'm saying? And you'll be fine. But yeah, back to the main point. I kind of got sidetracked, sorry, but back to the main point. Just make sure that your list, if it has any of the Air Force needs is on it. My bad. But what I was saying was that if your list has any of the Air Force needs is on it, if you really don't want that job, then I suggest putting it a little bit lower or not putting it at all, because if it's on that needs list, they might pick you for it. And your recruiter, remember this is very important. Your recruiter has a quota. And if he reaches a certain amount of people he sends off, then he gets a certain amount of money. So they're going to try to get you going. So if they see one of the things on your list is on the Airforce needs list, they know they can ship you out faster, and they might push that to you and make it seem like a good idea. But just stand 10 toes and just do what you want to do, because you don't want to go somewhere just because your recruiter said he can get you out quick or this, and that. Make sure that you pick what you want, even if it takes 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. You want to make sure that your 4 years is not just a waste. So make sure that you dedicate your time to picking a job and focusing on what you truly want. But yeah, that's all I got for that part. All right, that's really all the information that I can really give, because I mean, everything else is pretty self-explanatory. There's not really a for sure way to how to pick your job. Like, that's something that you're gonna have to decide, but I'm just giving you tips and tricks as to what helped me pick my job. But I'll give y'all some resources. So if you already seen the jobs on the Airforce website, you can look them up on Forever Wingman. It will tell you the ASVAB score you need, the places it can go, and it will give you a full like page and a half breakdown of what that job actually does. And I'll put that link in the description so that way y'all don't have to remember this part and type it up while I'm talking, you know. But that's one of the resources. Another resource is the Airforce Wins app. So if you just look up Airforce job interest form or something like that, you know, it will give you a test, and it will, like, it's kind of like a personality test. Like, it will ask you, I like this, I like that, and it will match up jobs for you based on what you answer. But keep in mind that if you do this, they will call you, because it requires you to put an email and phone number. So if you don't want them to call you or nothing like that, then don't do this. But if you're serious about the Airforce and you don't mind them calling you and talking to a recruiter and whatnot, then you can use that website, you know, and have them reach out to you. And you don't have to respond to them to get your results, but once you get your results, they will definitely call you and be like, hey, we see you're interested in the Airforce, blah, 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 blah. Come to my shop, come talk to me. And when I did that, bro, and they kept spamming my phone, I was kind of annoyed. But the thing about the Airforce compared to like the Army and the Marines, they're not going to call you a million times. Like, if you don't answer once or twice, they'll probably call you like once a week maybe. But Army, Marines, they call you every single day, dude, every day. And it's so annoying. But yeah, those are the 2 websites that I can think of off the top of my head right now. And also, just to wrap it up, don't let nobody influence your decisions besides yourself. You know what I'm saying? This is your journey. This is your career. Make the decision that's best for you and the people around you. But don't let them dictate that, if that makes sense. Like, for example, if you got a boyfriend and girlfriend and you know you're going to get married to them in like 2 years, you know what I'm saying? Start looking at places that's good for families, looking for things that's good to do. Maybe you might want a job with the location that you wouldn't mind living with your spouse for a while. Sorry, I'm rambling, speaking too fast. But yeah, just make sure that it's gonna be for you for 4 years. And if you're gonna stay in for longer than that, then you might want to do even more research, because you might not want to live somewhere for 20 whole years. You know what I'm saying? Like, just make sure that you take all things into consideration when you're picking your job, because like I said, it's the next 4 or 6 years of your life, and possibly to like the next 20, depending on what your job is and how long you stay in. You know what I'm saying? So just make sure you do your research, stay focused, stay motivated, and just make the decision that's best for you, because at the end of the day, that's all that matters, is the decision that's best for you, and it's going to help you out in the long run. But yeah, y'all, that's the end of the video. That is how you pick your job in the Airforce. I hope this helps some people. Sorry I've been lacking on the content. I'm actually probably gonna record another video after this and then just post it later. So I'm probably just gonna put a jacket on and be like, yep, this is a new video. But I'm gonna post it like 5 days after I drop this one today. But I just wanna let y'all know I love y'all, care about y'all. Y'all stay in the word, y'all stay prayed up, and God loves you. God is watching you. And if you don't know God, hit me up in the comments and I'll help you find him. It's not my journey, but I can help you get to your journey. But yeah, y'all stay blessed, y'all stay safe to the next one. Peace.